next step in your evolution. Remember who you are and how you got this far. Listen to your gut. What is it telling you? It's never over. You have choices. The cooler admits defeat. The closer works harder. The cleaner strategizes for a different outcome. Admitting defeat has no place in this discussion or in this book because the words quit and relentless just don't work together in any productive way. People who admit defeat and say they had no choice just aren't serious about success, excellence, or themselves. They say they'll try and then give up when that doesn't work. Fuck try. Trying is an open invitation to failure, just another way of saying, if I fail, it's not my fault, I tried. You tried your best? Or did you do your best? Huge difference. Well, I tried. Okay, now tell me what you did.
GM. Good morning, everybody. Looks like we're starting off to a nice, sleepy Saturday morning. I hope everybody has their coffee and their fruitcake and their cookies from Christmas, if you still have them.
I was about to say fruitcake.
Yeah, my mom makes like the best fruitcake. It's my favorite thing every year. It's got like giant maraschino cherries that probably have like chemicals that they probably like lower my life expectancy like a year for every one of these that I eat because they're like bright red, and then she just soaks it in like alcohol, like rum or I don't know, what is it, Grand Marnier. So that is the best, and yeah, that's my breakfast. Is like a giant chunk of fruitcake. How about you? Are you a fan of fruitcake?
I don't know. I heard grandma that I'm drinking lots of that stuff. Isn't it a little early for that?
It's just fruitcake. It's just breakfast. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Sometimes she puts too much. She's like, it's too much. There's too much on here. I'm like, it's okay, mom. It's good.
Interesting.
I feel like it's a regional thing too. Like my ancestry is like Eastern European, so I wonder, Mariana, like is were like bakery and sweets, were those like a big deal in your family? Because like like you just yeah are like basically just we just run on sugar. Like sugar, white flour, butter, and then like, throw in like meat and potatoes a little bit, but Mariana's giving me a thumbs up. Yeah, yeah.
And liquor desserts.
Not so much. They never really did. They just put the liquor on the sweets. Like they just put the liquor on the fruitcake. And that's how they ingested it, but yeah, not too much.
Nice.
Mariana's got a
Welcome,
thumbs up.
Maska. What up, Maska? Hello, Mariana. Ooh, we have a new listener. Brongis, welcome to our weekly community building space. Right now, it's a little on the slower side here. I think everyone is still waking up from the party last night, getting ready to continue party. But yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone would like to come up and chat, you're more than welcome to. Once again, this is our weekly community building Decentraland Twitter space. We just we gather every week, we talk some shit and prepare for the next week, whatever that might be. And yeah, always
Yeah,
happy to
and
meet
on
new
this
people.
one we're planning for the next year. I mean, this is it. Last Twitter space of the year. How many weeks are in a year? 55? 52?
52.
52. Oh, Mariana, the numbers person. Thank you. Thank you.
It's funny.
See, I can tell you're in accounting because you got that number fast.
Well, some accountants consider it only like 50 weeks out of the year. Like 2 weeks don't count sometimes.
What happens to those 2 weeks?
They. I think it's like from like a business day perspective. Like there can only. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Sometimes I see 50 weeks, or people operate on a 50-week schedule. But
Ah, interesting. I did not know that. That's so cool. I know there's things like the government's like fiscal year ends in like September, like the end of September is like a big deal, and then like the educational like end of year is November, and so it's funny because you have these like arbitrary deadlines that people are like stressing out about, and you're like, why? It's only September. It's only November, and then you realize, oh, there's like this other world that I don't even know about.
yep, don't get me started with the tax season and audit season. So that's gonna be my life the next 4 months.
Can you do our taxes,
I got
Ariana?
you. I got you. um, That's funny how you mentioned the liquor candies because I literally had some yesterday with my parents. It's such a like staple um at a Slavic house, if you will.
Yes, and we used to buy them from this store. It was a store, Ukrainian owned
Mm-hmm.
store. And they were like the
Yeah.
best. They were like the shape of a little bean, like a little semicircle. And they just had straight up liquor in them. I think I was like, I don't know, 17 or like definitely under the age. And my mom's like, these are so good. And just buying more. I'm like, these are so probably not legal, but they're good. And mom says it's okay. So
Yeah, like
have you had those?
oh yeah, 100%. Yep. Like my family doesn't really drink, but like they get away with drinking with those candies. That's like the replacement.
Oh
Because
my
it's not as
God, I
like
love that.
it's not as like intense as like chugging down like a vodka. But yeah, my dad will sneak away with like a candy. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not getting drunk. Until you have
Oh my
200 of
God,
them, then yeah, then you're getting drunk.
yeah. That sounds so perfect, like getting drunk
Oh, candy.
on
Yeah.
chocolates. Oh my gosh. That sugar probably just like does some crazy stuff to your chemistry, like sugar plus alcohol equals like, oh, let's just warm them up too while we're at it.
Right.
Like there's a really good like something called glühwein, and it's like heated wine with cranberry juice, and it's like so good. But the fact that you heat it, I swear, just it does something different. It, like hits you so hard because it's like boiling hot alcohol that you just maybe it just bypasses all the traditional. It's like you just get to go straight to like the bloodstream. You don't even have to get processed by the liver today. Here you go. But yeah, that's pretty tasty.
Now I want some desserts. I don't have anything. Where's the chocolate? I don't have no chocolate here.
We should make a cookbook.
Oh
Everybody, like,
yes.
because there's such a global audience here. Like when I lived up in Alaska years ago, like I lived in employee housing and I worked with people from all over the world because they could get visas just to come up there and work for like 5 months and they couldn't leave. So we would have these like huge parties and everybody would bring like something from their country, like their home country. Like my friend from Hungary, she was like, "This, my mom sent it to me. Like she sent it just for this." And that was where I tried Vegemite, like from my Australian friends for the first time. And yeah, so that would be cool. That'd be cool. We need a cuisine, like somebody each week, somebody could like cook, live stream like their favorite dish from around the world and cook it and give us the ingredients the week ahead, and we can try to follow along.
That actually,
And then
yeah, that'd be a really cool like 2024 resolution, like a community cookbook. Whether it's like a PDF or whatever, like on a 3D model, like in the world, like that would be like. I like that idea actually. Like we gotta put that into fruition.
yeah, then the recipe can be the NFT.
Yes. Like every week is like a new recipe with a different country or region, and it just like circulates. And then like a stream associated with it. Maybe we can go down the history of the food if we want to go down.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that. We have so many ideas. One of these years we're gonna like boom, like make something happen. Because weren't we
Yeah.
we've got a couple other
Yeah, we
ideas that
got
are
some.
still on the
Yeah,
brain.
we have to start with the first ones.
But I would love that. Like I see Jester in the crowd and I'm thinking, like I bet Jester has some like mad dishes that he could make. Like that would be pretty cool. Food from around the world. And on that note, welcome. See some more faces in the crowd. And Jester, Metaryuk, Knower, Cat5, Lastrum, Jim, and B. Juice It. Nice. Welcome, everybody. Open forum. Anybody is welcome to come up and speak if you have anything near and dear to your heart other than like alcohol filled chocolates like Mariana and I, because we could probably fill an hour talking about like our sweets and alcohol filled chocolates. So yeah, feel free. Welcome everybody. And like and retweet the room if you feel so inclined. It helps more people know that we're out here this quiet, sleepy Saturday morning. And it looks like Cat5. Good morning. Welcome. How are you?
Yo, GM. Chilling. I'm
GM.
very excited about the event today with Community Building Decentraland. Super pumped about that.
Oh man,
Yeah, I'm
me
looking forward to
too.
that.
I've been just ruthlessly just trying to get stuff done all morning, like since like 5 o'clock this morning, because I fell asleep last night, like that, which is like something that never happens, me falling asleep at like 10 p.m. and then just waking up all confused. I did miss a few sound checks, but trying to get back on track. Cat 5, how are you feeling? You're gonna be on Beyond the NFT today, as well as even performing at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I'm feeling great. I'm very excited to be back on Beyond the NFT, and then I've got an hour DJ set that I've been working on, and it's going to be a little bit different and some new music and stuff. So I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to hear the other DJs too. We've got an awesome lineup today of DJs from Nihilings and a Kid Called Beast communities. So, and some of these DJs I haven't seen in Decentraland. Some of them I have, but I'm looking forward to some of these new faces.
Yeah, to begin with, we have Hedge kicking off the event at 4 p.m. Eastern. Dude, like I was listening to like a little bit of his set like a few hours ago, and oh my God, like where he is a gem. Where has he been? Like I of course like I've attended his like Friday night DJ sets and stuff like that. But like, wow, the dude just like you can tell he put in some time and effort for tonight's set. Where did you find him, Cat 5? Like, damn.
I've kind of found him the same way you found him. He was rocking a Nihiling, and the dude just started popping up spaces and playing music, and that was I don't just seeing someone in our community, the Nihilings community, go out of their way and just kind of start doing their own thing. I immediately just wanted to support that, and I started going to his spaces, kind of promoting them with the Nihilings account, and now he's playing his first set in Decentraland. So that's awesome. I'm really happy that I've helped him kind of get discovered by people in the metaverse to give him some opportunities. So that's very cool that he's playing. And yeah, his music is like just amazing. Like the most amazing mix of like EDM and trap and dubstep and just everything.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. There's like a mix of just about like different genres that you wouldn't put together that you wouldn't see very often in like one set. Like usually people focus on like one genre or a few, but he kind of like shows off like a wide variety of music, and like he makes it all fit together very nicely, which is like that's where the talent comes in. I know that DJ Mariana and Canessa over here can appreciate the skill. um But so you had mentioned that you found them pretty much how I found them. So in other words, he found you. uh like dude's awesome. And yeah, he's like super excited to just vibe on the Decentraland and check it out and do more in there. So, and I did see for a second that DJ Triforce popped in with his Nihiling PFP as well. Big love to him. And well, yeah, I mean, hope he's doing well. That's the Decentraland OG there too.
100%. 100%. Um, so what Hedge is starting at 4. Hedge's set is at 4 to start it off.
Yes, sir. 4 p.m. Eastern. Hedge will be live.
Nice.
Very excited for everyone to listen to. And then after that, we'll follow with Beyond the NFT. And after Beyond the NFT, we have a kid called Void performing. He is part of the Beast community. Super active, always a loving person. Anytime I've talked to him, it's always been like good vibes. So, and and I spoke to him. I'm like, all right, bro, you're approaching your second set on Decentraland. It's time for Beyond the NFT. So he'll be my guest on the 1st of January.
Nice. That's awesome. You said that this is his second set in DCL. I don't think I've seen them play.
Yep, he performed for during the last CVD event that we had for I think it was like around Thanksgiving last month. He did his first performance, and yeah, I mean everyone was enjoying it, and it's really good to have him back.
Nice, nice. Well, I just wanted to pop in and just get everybody hyped about the event. I've got to go. I've got to jump off. But give the room a retweet. Everybody give it a like, and I'll see you in World in Decentraland later today. Everybody, much love to Canessa, Sinful, Mariana. Thanks for having me up.
Thanks, Cat 5. It's exciting. Looking forward to this afternoon. So go
Yeah,
hydrate.
100%. Yes, yes. Hydrate, practice a little bit, get my tracks ready. I'll see you guys. Peace.
Take care, Cat 5. Thank you. Yeah, I've been in the Nihilings Discord all morning, like, come on, guys, it's party day. Sorry for shilling so much, Cat 5. I feel like that's what I've been lacking.
I love what you're doing though, like bringing in like cross like what is it, CrossFit, let's just say it's CrossFit for like different NFT projects, like where you're bringing more in like utility to just being a holder. Like if somebody's a DJ and they're a beast holder, like you're like, hey, come to my show. Or if they're a DJ and they're a Nihiling holder. And I think I feel so bullish on like certain NFT projects that there's just going to be so much more utility in the future. Like it's not going to be enough just to have a PFP. There's going to have to be like so many other things for people. Like they're just going to demand more. Um, or maybe I'm just like totally brainwashed. I'm like, yes, I love these projects. It could be that too.
And that's so it sounds like we have to go and take notes on the different music genres to better coherent our music playlists.
Hey,
Yes,
yeah. I mean, they should be scared. All of
I
my
know.
beats, they're already ready to go. I mean, I was basically born ready.
I gotta do some work over here, but I'll get there.
you two could be the first DJ duo that like kind of just battles each other, even though you're on the same team.
And I'll just
Think
be
about it.
and that's will be like all ready, and I'll just be like winging the whole set, hoping for the best.
It's okay. I'll go easy on you. Just remember, I'm bringing my own light show because the lights are included in my VTech Kitty
Right.
DJ.
Well, my little
Yeah.
Hercules controller has some pretty cool lighting effects too.
Oh, it has lighting.
It lights up.
Is there like a power button that turns green when you turn it on?
I think those four square things light up.
Yeah, man, the DJs in the Web3 space, they're gonna listen to this. They're gonna be like, dang, those girls, they know what's up.
They just gotta wait.
Rip
Yeah,
to your
I mean,
DMs. They're gonna send some pointers to you.
you know, I could like that. I would have to check make sure that I have enough AA batteries to keep my VTech plugged in the whole set, because you know that is the one thing that could take me out, is like my batteries could go dead.
Yep. Or the RAM on your computer for the DJ Pro app.
Oh, I don't roll with the app. I just
Oh.
like no, I'm straight up hardcore. For anybody that doesn't know, I talk shit, and I have like a kids DJ machine. Mariana and I, we're gonna We're gonna do DJ battle. But all my music is pre-programmed and there are no inappropriate words because it's for children.
I'll come in bombing the set.
Oh my gosh. You're like, you can't say HELL. That's inappropriate. Oh my gosh. Well, good morning, everybody. I see more people filing in the room. Good morning, Babelex, Seed, Brandon. Good morning, Kenji, EBD Rabbit. Haven't seen you in a while. So again, please feel free if you have anything you'd like to talk about. Let's see. This week we had Jamel post. What is it called? He wrote something. Let's see if it has an official name. Just like a short blurb on wrapping up 2023. And there's some pieces in that I would love to know, like from a knower, Lastrom, like what they feel about that. That, like, to me, it feels kind of big. That our biggest challenge has been the performance and stability of the Explorer. Therefore, we've decided to rebuild it from the ground up. That feels kind of big. Like, I don't know. And if anybody has input on what, like, that knows more than I do about that level of building and coding and development, or maybe sometimes it's like, oh, it's just like an update they're going to push. But that sounds big, but it also sounds like a major improvement that could be added possibly to the ecosystem.
When? I mean, that's pretty awesome news. Hello, Brandon. Hi. I see you down there. Hope you're good. I know you're in the middle of a move. Love you. And hello, Seed. Mew loves you too.
Okay, so when they say explore, I feel so dumb asking this, but like, is that like the Unity program, client, and browser all together, or like what part of it is the Explorer?
You know, that's a good question, and I feel like part of why we don't know is maybe because it's all wrapped up into one bundle. Because I've never called it the Explorer. I've
Right,
said like the
right.
builder, the client, or the browser. But to hear it called the Explorer,
Yes.
maybe
So,
that's like something, that's how they refer to it behind the scenes. But I'm like, I don't know.
yeah, if we can get some clarity by our better developers.
Yeah, because it could also be like, that means everything. That means everything's gonna get fixed, and they might be like, no, Explorer is like this, very specific thing. But we have Unknower and Lastrom come up, and I think they might know a thing or two about coding and developing. So welcome, guys. Good morning.
Hey, good morning,
Hey.
Canessa.
Uh-oh, you have to battle who speaks first.
Oh, last room unmuted first. I just wanted to say hi.
So guys, do you understand what that means? Like the Explorer, is that something that you've commonly used, like that you understand?
I mean, I'll just jump in quickly. Like, we all, I guess, agree on a browser, right, for the way you access the internet, right? So I think Decentraland, we haven't agreed on what we call the thing that we use to engage Decentraland. We have the browser version, we have the client version, but the foundation calls both of those the Explorer. And so they're rebuilding the Explorer, or which is really the client version. So there are other ways to access Decentraland through the Decentraland DAO's grant program, like the client instead of Explorer. So.
That makes sense. And Yamal should have clarified that in his message.
Yeah, I actually didn't really know for sure what they meant by that either. So I was that's why I kind of wanted to hear what Lastrom was, or how Lastrom was going to explain it. But I was just going to say, whenever a dev team says that they're like completely rebuilding something, I usually think that's a good thing, just because it means they've kind of realized that something fundamental was maybe not done wrong, but like could be done better, and it's just easier to rewrite the whole thing than try to move forward with this kind of like epiphany they've come to. Like I know Tesla has rewritten their autopilot software like many times at this point, and so I guess sometimes you just hit some sort of like local maximum they call it, where like we're not going to get any further doing it this way. We have to kind of start from scratch. So when I hear that, although a lot of times the people paying for software don't like to hear that, I usually hear that and think like, okay, that means they actually kind of know what they're doing, or at least are improving.
That's good to know because when I hear it, I'm like, I mean, it sounds like, hey, we need a new foundation on our house. So we're just going to build a new foundation. And that sounds like catastrophic and giant and huge. So I'm glad to hear from you guys that maybe it's manageable. Last term.
Yeah, but didn't we get a new foundation last year on our house with the client version, right? I mean, I'm all for making performance improvements. I can't wait. I'm very very excited. So there's the positivity. The question is, how many times are we going to get a new foundation for our house?
Yeah, that's the tricky part. Is like if you're building a house, you don't really want to hear very often like, "Oh, we just got the roof on, but we realized that we didn't pour the foundation right." So if your house isn't going to perform very well for very long, like you can only have like 30 people in your house before the whole thing collapses. So yeah, that's probably not something you'd want to hear.
This house analogy is like so perfect for making it make sense because that, yeah, like I don't want to have like 30 people in my house and that's it. I want to have like party with thousands of people all coming to my house. And so like, if we keep rebuilding the foundation because it's not working, and not like the foundation, but like the foundation of our proverbial house, like at what point do we look and realize, hey, maybe we're building on sand? Like maybe we need to go find bedrock and like have a firmer base to build on. And I guess I mean like I don't know, I had a great conversation with people this week about just the challenges of building in this new, web3 decentralized platform with like open source software. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, are there challenges that we can things that we can do to make it just easier from the ground up, like, or yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not equipped to speak on this at all. Like I'm just like I know nothing, but it's like that part of me that knows nothing that I'm like I want you guys who do know something to have like a seat at the table, God forbid, and then you see what's happening, and then you can break it down for people that don't understand like the finer nuances of all this coding.
It is kind of funny that the statement or the question, "Didn't we just get a new foundation?" kind of is like a double entendre, because a lot of the actual foundation kind of turned over as well, while we also got this kind of new foundation of our platform software wise. And I guess something else that's probably good to note is like it's not like they're really. I mean, I guess in a sense we're kind of building something brand new that's never been done before. There's not really like a metaverse that thousands of people can, or like not really an open metaverse where thousands of people can go in and have a compelling experience all at once. But at the same time, my analogy to like self-driving cars might be a little generous. I don't know if it's quite on that level. Like we're not literally inventing artificial, like generalized artificial intelligence to be able to make decisions and stuff like that. So
I like your
it's
house
probably
analogy,
somewhere in
Noah.
between like building a website and coding a artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I like your house analogy. There's all kinds of building blocks and other use cases for how to build a house really well and hold a lot of people. Um, so why do we need to create a new form of concrete or a new way to put up a wood wall, right? Maybe designing the wall differently, but using the same raw materials. So that's what I'm always curious about is like, you have Unreal Engine, you have Unity, we have these raw materials, and it's like, how come we can't construct a really good solid house? Because I'll tell you, Fortnite does it really well. So I'm actually excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see how, you know, we can maybe have our DCL VRMs in Fortnite this year, or Roblox. That could be super interesting. That'd be sweet.
Dude, make it happen. I was gonna say something. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite lately, and it's as I'm like sliding across the mountain scene, just waiting for somebody with my Reaper. Like it is so beautiful there, and the graphics are perfect, and everything works, and I can play with my friends, and I'm like, ah, it doesn't scare me, but it's like this is what we're competing with. Like this is what we're competing. Also, the social dynamics of it. Like, how in the heck are we going to be competitive with Fortnite and Mojang Studios? Like, I mean, we don't even have to be competitive, but we just have to offer something better than we are. And please make it happen. I want to. Yeah, I mean, I love my avatar in Fortnite. She hides a lot.
Well, maybe instead of always like dogging, the changes of what's going on, let's maybe as a community think of what we hope to see from us, or from us developers like myself or Noah or other people, for 2024, so that maybe we could sort of compete with these other types of gaming platforms. Because I know Ingester's in here and KJ's in here, and there's other people that have created games and things like that. So maybe we just step back and say, what do we want to do in Decentraland? Like, do we want to do Fortnite in Decentraland? Do we want to do a snowball fighter? Do we want to do an RPG? Do we want this or that? And then maybe a team of us developers can get together and try to make it happen with whatever performance improvements are coming.
I think that would be so strong, so bullish. Like we were having a great conversation earlier this week in Genesis Plaza. I kind of got lost looking for a something in a proposal I was going to go check out, and I ended up at Genesis Plaza and had like a 3-hour conversation that was so awesome. And we talked a lot about like just game mechanics and game psychology, like how people are rewarded in game and how like just the back, like the behind the scenes of what makes a game addictive and like what makes a game people coming back. And like personally, there's things in Fortnite that I'm looking at like this would be so cool to have in Decentraland. What if a group of us creators decided we're gonna host our items for sale in the marketplace just like Fortnite does, where you have 24 hours to buy it. Every day you have to check in and see what's for sale, and then I take my things off the marketplace, and if you didn't buy it, well, maybe I'll put it on like 2 weeks from now. It'll be back like when the Canessa marketplace refreshes. It's kind of unrealistic to like do that one person at a time, but then I'm like, what if enough people were got together, and all that does is like tap into basic human psychology, that you want what you can't have. And just like we talked last week, when you add urgency to something, all of a sudden you stop thinking about it in a rational way, and suddenly it's like, like I only got 24 hours to get this skin. Do I want it or do I not? And so like using those strategies, like looking at other games, not stealing their ideas, but that's a really good idea to have the marketplace like more dynamic. And I think a think tank across the board of different mechanics like that could just make Decentraland so much more like dynamic. Not like different or better, but just like more I don't know, just more going on, because I check in every day. I gotta see what's in that item shop, man. I got V-Bucks I gotta spend.
I love that. I almost wonder if our DAO should have like a game squad or something, like our strategic unit shouldn't be about like the formalities of proposals, but of what fun things should we try to come up with this quarter, and sort of follow the foundation with 6 week cycles. That's a pretty short development time frame, especially for like a game. But what if we could do something like that? That would be cool. Where it's like, okay, DAO, people, developers, we want, this. And I think they've laid the groundwork for the bidding and tendering, but maybe putting some people who understand game theory and things like that and say, hey, okay, we want to make this type of game. Who wants to try to build it for us? That could be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think any kind of idea like that, like I was thinking even like 3 months at a time or like a month at a time, because you're saying like that much is it's not a lot of time to build stuff out. But I absolutely like Epic Games, Mojang Studios. They've got people on their payroll that have backgrounds in psychology and behaviorism. There's no way they made those games without thinking about how to hijack the human brain. Like, and so I kind of went off on this like little impromptu like Genesis Plaza meeting, and I was like, okay, this is what we need. Boom, boom, boom. Like we need random rewards. We need expected rewards, but like I mean, so I speak about that because that's my background. But yeah, if we had a team and then other people could come at it from the background that they're bringing into it, I think definitely you would you'd get some results. Like I think too many times we're working in isolation, like each project is working separately because that's how it has to be. But maybe there's ways that we could work smarter, not harder. I always have to make sure I get that one right because I usually fuck it up.
May I jump on this topic?
Yeah, good morning or good evening. Probably
Good
evening by
evening.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So, I want to jump in on the game content because when I'm a gamer myself, and when I play games, in nearly all of the games that I play, I see something like a battle pass where you can get like a lot of rewards that are mid, and then you have like this 24-hour time span where you can get your certain skin, and if you don't get it within that 24 hour, you will have to wait once it pops up into your store again, something like that. And that's what makes the item like you put more value to that item because you finally got it in your store. And with Valorant, when I play Valorant and there's a certain type of weapon skin, I'm like, oh, finally, now I have to buy it. But then I realize, oh shit, I bought it, but did I actually want it that much, or was it just because it was in my store this time, you know? So I think if we can find some content like this and maybe build it within the Decentraland, it will bring a lot of retention to the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are just basic human principles that like you want what you can't have, and then if there's other utility built into something like, hey, this is going to give me speed, or this is going to give me, a mining bonus, or what, however it is. Every game is different, but I know like, oh my gosh, I used to walk around Wonder Zone with the giant nose on and the T-shirt and the hat because it got me like a more meteor mining bonus, and I finally I had like my dignity. I was like, no, I don't care. I'm not wearing that nose, even though I don't get as many, mining bonuses. Like, I don't care. I can't I can't wear that giant nose anymore. But it was powerful enough to think that, hey, I'm getting some benefit out of this. So um yeah, that's an interesting thought in Jester as well. Let's see. Seed, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Hope everyone's doing all right. I I wanted to just lay this out for everyone. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this is something everyone's thought of before. I don't know enough about the dev side of things to know like if this is feasible or, how much it would cost, etc. But what is it going to take to make Decentraland uh accessible on an iPad, at least an iPad? And how, like, if were to figure out like the statistics of how many people would access it, would if it was easier to access it, like for instance Roblox. And I'm trying to think, like Roblox I guess would be the main one. They make it accessible on phones and tablets. So it's not that it's impossible, but maybe someone from like the dev side of things can clarify if this is like just insanely impossible, or like, like what's stopping us from doing this?
I can jump in on that because it should be not that hard because just have to have you can even import a compatible browser into an application and then run the Decentraland from there. But like I even tried some browsers on my Android phone to see if I can log in to Decentraland, but somehow I wasn't able to. Um, but yeah, if someone takes a deeper look into it, I bet it's an easy task to be honest. With so much money that we have actually within the DAO, someone should be able to manage to do it.
Yeah.
Well, and I was just gonna say, like, I know we had the 2D version that was being worked on in like through a DAO grant, and then that um they weren't able to complete it, so they stepped away from it. But I think that's like, I don't know how far they got on that, but having that 2D version, like, it'd be interesting to see what they created on that. I'll just speak for like, when I was doing the interviews of the ambassadors around the world, like that was the same thing that kept coming up from people in different countries. Is like, we like, what is one thing that can make Decentraland better? Browser, like, or not browser, but mobile, like access on a mobile.
I know one probably major roadblock as far as getting it onto like Apple phones is Apple limits how much like processing power or graphic stuff can be loaded in their browser apps, and that's one of the reasons why like some worlds in Hyperfy work on Apple phones and some don't, and it's usually somewhere around like where you start adding video screens and stuff where it starts not working on mobile. So we would probably have to make an app, like a native app. But the problem with that is Apple doesn't let any kind of crypto or Web3 apps on their app store. So that could be an interesting challenge to get around.
What if you were to create a native app and then instead of using like a MetaMask, we could do like a version where it's just like regular fiat, and then have like a program that transfers whatever fiat to, like if someone wants to buy a wearable and it's on the Decentraland marketplace and they're going through the other versions, the iPhone version or whatever, but somehow there's like some sort of bridge that automates the fiat to turn into whatever, you know, just like you when you transfer ETH to, you know, um, I don't know, Bitcoin or something, or Bitcoin to ETH, like what if we built like a bridge that would just automatically transfer it so that you get past the Apple problem, and then you still have like the native kind of application specifically made for uh, you know, cell phones and iPads or whatever, tablets. Um, all right, now I'm kind of getting lost, but I think I kind of explained that
Yeah, no, totally.
properly.
I like where
At
your
least,
head's at. And I think we're probably getting there because they were talking about implementing some kind of Web2 login. And I think we can already buy stuff on the marketplace now with credit cards. So I guess that would be the workaround, is kind of for Decentraland not to be such a Web3 centralized, or not centralized, not such a decentralized Web3 application. But I don't know, maybe that would kind of help with adoption and stuff, because I recently had an experience where I was asking a game developer what they thought about the Decentraland platform, and their response was basically like, as soon as I see decentralized anything, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with that. So as disappointing as that was for me, I think until people get Web3 in general, or don't just see it as automatically like that's somewhere where I'm going to get scammed, um, that that might be our only way to really bring a lot of people in. Because I mean, even some of us have been hit with scams where it's always somebody saying like, "Oh, we're spinning up some new decentralized metaverse, and we need a community manager or whatever." And that seems to be one of the most common like social engineering scams is people with fake metaverses. So
What if it was just called land? And then, you couldn't go through the decentralized version, like the original version. You could like choose between, you know, the decentralized version and then the, regular version for people who are like freaked out by the word Decentraland. Like, is that insane? I mean, I don't think there is anything like that. Uh, like a world that's called land, just land, like land, like super simple.
like the land or something, or maybe we like instead of focusing so much on it being decentralized, we focus more on it being open source because I feel like that's the real win there. But there's some hands up, so I don't want to keep jumping in ahead of people that have something to say.
I have questions about that too on Nowhere, like the open source, but but yeah, I'm like, okay, we could go down a rabbit hole, but so maybe we will come back to that because um yeah, I have so many questions. Let's see. I think Lastrom and then Make.
Yeah, all I was going to say is I think from what I've heard with this new Explorer client is that we'll be better positioned to be put onto mobile or iPads. So, I think from what I know of the current client, it was built very ad hoc and very customized without really future proof in mind as much as they thought they were doing that. And so this whole complete rewrite, and this is me being optimistic and relaying what I heard that we will be better positioned as a user base to explore Decentraland, for lack of a better word, on different devices with this new client.
Thank you, Lastrom. I think there's probably so much we could unpack there as well. Make.
Good morning, family and friends. See, I got C in the building and Bronx Reds in the building. What is up? Can I tell people, Mariana? Can I even say? I
Yeah,
got to hang
go
out with
ahead.
Mariana this week in Ohio, and that was so fun. So this does work. We keep expanding our friendships to IRL and beyond. So it's great we're talking about it. One of the big elephants in the room with Mac or mobile, their platform is going to come down to we use not just use cryptocurrency for buying and selling, but they want a 30% cut of what lands and is sold there. And I think that's going to be a way bigger challenge than what happens to get on the platform is actually the delegation of money and then how they feel even about crypto. But unfortunately, like if you go back to like the battles that they had with Fortnite and everybody else that's on that platform, the take is 30% of profit. So I think it's going to take a little time, and we can't just switch to fiat because then it would have to run through Apple, and then Apple would have to take a large percentage of that money. So, just on that subject, it's a tough, and that's not just for Decentraland. That is for pretty much all platforms that are trying to use commerce or run, subscriptions through like an Apple website. Like that's what everybody fights about with Apple. So just as a thought, not to downgrade the concept, but it's a deeper concept that would have to be held also with financial payments going to Apple and how people feel about it.
That's an excellent point because when Epic Games, goes to battle and leaves the platform, that's like that's like us walking into battle and we see Goliath running the other way and we're like, "No, we're good. Let's just keep going. That's probably going to be fine for us." Like, yeah, I mean it that's a really good point to bring up. Ingester?
Yeah, so I want to jump on in that like crossover thing because like there's something we could also do that if you want to be a creator, you can jump on the Web3 and create, and then if you choose to go on Apple or Android, whatever, and you choose to play the mobile version, you just buy whatever the creators have with fiat, and there is like a small thing that will be very like it would change the perspective because you will get a lot of new players. So the cut isn't that big of a deal because new players will pay that cut. So we will still keep the money that we currently have and the Web3 version that we have. And also, if you buy like let's say a wearable on the app version, it will be just like a Roblox point of view. You will just have your clothes, but you won't own it. But if you want to own it, you have to go on Web3. So that way we can onboard from Web2 to Web3 in that like as seeds at like a bridge. So we could totally separate it and then maybe build Decentraland or something.
Oh my gosh, I think there's some people that would love to hear you build something called Decentraland. I think there's definitely room for like reverse engineering. Like instead of trying to bring all of Decentraland to like the web, like the App Store, or like to web back to Web 2 to like bring more people in. Like instead of doing it like that, how about just take one small little niche project, make it successful with that? Like what I could see is some app being created, like I don't know, I'll just use Angzar Plaza. Like what if there was some app, totally Web 2, not Web 3, but like an app created for the Apple Store, and it's really done well, and it's some kind of player game, and people fall in love with it. They buy, they're buying more. Everything is within the guidelines of the Web 2. Everybody's playing by the rules, but it also has these really cool components that like you can go on this quest, and then to further go on your quest, you jump into Decentraland, you jump into Web 3. But I feel like in a lot of ways you have to like ease people in. Like there's a analogy about a frog. If you put a frog into boiling water, it'll realize it's hot and immediately jump out. But if you put a frog into water and slowly increase the temperature, it'll boil alive because it won't be able to jump out. So like not saying that that's like how we have to deal with people in Web 2 that haven't found us yet, because that's kind of sadistic, but it is kind of like that. Like we have to stop saying Web 3 around those people. We have to just develop good fucking games. People follow good games, like they'll just keep following them and spending way too much money. I mean, look at me. Okay,
I,
last one.
oh, I was going to say, I'm genuinely curious. How does Coinbase, how does MetaMask, how does Phantom, if those all deal strictly in crypto, I don't know this answer. How are they on the Apple Marketplace? Do they pay a 30% cut? I'm so curious.
Boom. Good question.
I mean, it's great to like go down the rabbit holes of like, oh, let's create this and that, but it's like I'm scratching my head here. They've already done it, so let's not worry about it, and let's hope let's push to get Decentraland on here.
Yeah, I don't know who wants that homework assignment for the week.
Can I just say one question? I don't have all of the answers there, but I think the way wallets get away with it is that they're not taking a rake. They're not supposedly taking money through the process, and they're just running the thing and using the ability. I don't have answers about Coinbase. That's worth looking, but I'm pretty sure that's how they get around wallets.
Uh, I do know like Coinbase has a version where, well, you pay $20 a month and it gives you insurance, and it also makes it so you don't have to pay like all the fees when you're buying crypto. And maybe they use that subscription to fund, you know, all this other stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just wondering. Again, I never read. I'm sure none of us do the terms of service, but what does it say in the Apple terms of service when you upload an app that blocks from crypto? Is it sort of like a restaurant bar style where if you have a certain percentage of your food over in terms of your alcohol, then you're in a different category, et cetera. So maybe if you have different fiat, like as a majority versus crypto as a minority of your business, then it's okay. Where's that line? Because clearly Coinbase deals in crypto. They have a separate wallet app. The wallet concept does make sense, but it's just interesting.
Do we know of anybody that has done any building on like an app that's been on the store?
I know a game called Astro Must, which is like a game where you are in space and do parkours and everything. It's it's in its early versions, and how they do it, because from what I get is you just pay when you make money. So if you don't make money, you don't pay the 30% fee. And how they did like with some stuff is they use the external Apple Pay method. So which is not built within the app, so they don't create anything like a subscription that goes directly in app purchases, but you actually use the external API of Apple to make the payment through credit card or something like Apple Pay, something like that. It's a bit complicated, but hope I can explain myself like this.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think these are all really good questions to start. I feel like we need to be like taking notes. We've got really good ideas today, and um, I guess if anybody knows anybody that has done work on those, that would be interesting to like at least, I don't know, pick their brain. I totally left that hanging, didn't I? Sorry, guys. Oh, see, does that you brought up a really good question, and I think this is just going to continue to get brought up. I think that like on a different note, I that 2D grant that was, I think it was paid out. I think they did some building on it. I wonder if that's something that like that. I guess that's something, a reason why having like open source software is so maybe so valuable, so that another team could come along and like look at what they've done and like can like grab the baton and keep going with it. I don't know if that's something feasible or if it's just easier for teams to start from scratch. But it's, yeah, sometimes you see these projects come through and you're hopeful and optimistic, and then they just, for whatever reason, they don't come to fruition. But I would love to see that.
Even like similar to like the VR client proposal, that final one didn't go through. So it's like it'll be curious or interesting to see if any other teams take it, to that completion mark, or do they have to start over because of proprietary software. I can never say that word. But then also they were trying to get, or a part of the proposal was to get it to the App Store as well, or for the Oculus Store. Or I forgot which store, but yeah, I wonder how that would have, like what that process would have looked like too, and if they would have came across any hurdles along the way, similar to like the mobile limitations of whatever crypto or whatever the limitations may be. But yeah, will be interesting to see how VR client shakes up as well.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I believe that is something that they're going to continue to work on, but I don't know for sure. That's just what I've heard is in the new year there'll be more with that. So maybe we'll have to make sure we look for that in the manifesto when that's published, because I think having a VR client and having like mobile, those are the two. I see those as like, if we're on a ship, like maybe we're in the doldrums, like we don't have any wind and we can't go anywhere, like those are the two lifeboats, like we like mobile and VR. Not lifeboats, I don't think we're, I don't know, that might not be a good analogy, but like those are the two things that would really, that people look for. Like, I mean, still, when I try to explain what Decentraland is, they're like, "Oh, so you're in a VR headset?" And I'm like, "No, no, like it's, it's just never happened." But that's what everybody still assumes, is that we're all like in our VR goggles and like Ready Player One. And I don't know. I don't know if that even. It'll be so weird to ever be in Decentraland in virtual reality someday. Even though I thought we'd have that by like 2020. Oh, what was I thinking?
We'll have to have a Oculus Quest dusting off party when that happens. Time to dust off the VR headsets, guys. It's
No, how do you know that my Oculus is dusty? No, you're so right.
because it's
You're
next to
so
yours,
right.
accumulated dust with it.
Oh, I wish that wasn't true. I mean, just like right there, that's kind of scary to think like that there are a lot of really good games on the Oculus, and I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
even. Hmm. Make?
I think actually the VR client, which, as you guys know, my alt space roots and past, I really do miss my headset. But I think we're going to have a really good opportunity with the Quest 3, even maybe more so than the Apple version, just due to expense more than anything. Um, if you look into what's just happened with Xbox games, they're making it. There's a Game Pass for Xbox, and they've found a way to make a platform where you could play almost any game from Xbox on the new Quest 3. And I think there are going to be a lot of new people investigating what's possible in VR, and therefore making it a very exciting time to give it another try, even for people who have them already. So I'm hoping that there is renewed interest, because I think it's our best shot. That's a great new way. There are tons of people getting Quest. There are probably fewer people getting Apples, but they're going to be very committed to them. And it really might be a good chance to shine light on Decentraland if we can push forward. But I think there's going to be a lot of new pieces.
So, my question with that is like, I mean, if you've gone on to a lot of those games and done them, I mean, they're freaking gorgeous. They work and they're gorgeous. They've got good game mechanics. They tell a beautiful story. Like, so my question is, how can not how can we compete with that, but what can we offer that they don't have? Like, we really have to find ourselves this year. I think 2024, that's going to be the year of self-discovery. We have to look inward. What does Decentraland offer that they don't? What problems are we solving that they can't? Because I think if we just go at it and we're trying to be just as competitive as Fortnite and Minecraft and everybody else, like, we're gonna lose. Like, we're not gonna take people away from that. Like, and we're stupid for trying to, but we can be smart and be like, okay, that's cool, but what problem are we solving? We're decentralized. Like, you can own your own land, you can create your own game, you can create your own wearables, you can create your own emotes. Like, I almost feel like we really have to dial in our focus, that we're not trying to go compete with these other giants, but we are our own giant, and we just haven't, like, come to our full potential. And to me, that's the ability to have your own world, have your own land, create whatever the fuck you want on there. And I think that's something that we just don't even tap into enough. So maybe there's more focus. Maybe we need to put more focus on creators, that we are a platform not just for consumers but for creators to really come, and this is your canvas. Like, I don't know, maybe maybe Decentraland 2024 is the year of the blank canvas. Like, come, let us be your canvas. Like, whatever you want to create, this is where you can do it. Because that is the one thing I can't do in Fortnite. I can be a consumer, I can buy stuff, but I can't create it to my knowledge, like, not the same way that Decentraland can.
Yeah, but I think Fortnite creator is pretty sweet. I think, I don't know if Dogman's in the group or not, but he's created some maps and islands, and I know Last Slice is going to do that this year as well. And Roblox creator is amazing. You can create your own Minecraft server for free. So yeah, I think as a community, like, we should do that. Again, what's the value proposition of Decentraland? And the positive note is, what should we build? What do we want to do in Decentraland? I think that would be cool, and try to make that happen in 2024.
Yeah, I've played I've gone with Dogman Squad, and got a couple couple kills with him. That like, it's awesome. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Oh, okay. I lost my train of thought, so I'll just pass it on. Metarik, welcome. How are you today?
Hello everyone. It's good. It's almost like it's over. It's 10 minutes past 2 a.m. now. But I'm wide awake. So I saw your space and I thought, let me just jump in. I think this is the first or second one, I can't remember, but the conversation has been great. I think perhaps I can share my observation in the current Web3 gaming space. Um, I think one of the issues that we're having here is the way we like market ourselves, especially in Web3 metaverse platforms. So if you compare ourselves with Web2 games, the primary focus or the primary intention for Web2 games is basically developing a game and playing the game, right? There's no like ownership involved. But when it comes to Web3 games or metaverse platforms, you start to see that the white paper itself, including Decentraland or Sandbox or Sonar Spaces, the focus is not really on the game side, but more to the ownership of items, right? Asset ownership. And then because of that focus, we are not attracting players, we are attracting investors. And I think that's the reason why Decentraland or many of the Web3 metaverse platforms right now, calling themselves gaming platforms, are not attracting players. So this is one of the challenge that the Web3 metaverse are having a challenges for or on. And I've really seen, like, if you see a number of like articles, they are saying that 2024 will be the Web3 gaming narrative. Like it's gonna be focusing on Web3 games. And I've seen a number of new platforms who are trying out a different strategy. Right. So what they are doing, based on what I've seen so far, in some of the chains and some of the projects that they are doing, is they are trying to build this on the decentralized infrastructure, right? But at the same time, their focus is on developing the games, but they will not mention that these games is built on top of a decentralized infrastructure. So they like I think what I think some of you mentioned about, they don't call it a Web3 thing. They're just going to call it a game, right? And their strategy is to develop a good game, attract the players first, and then if once they attract a number of good players, they love the game, they enjoy the game. After that, then they start to introduce the so-called ownership, the NFTs, the transaction focus. So that's the strategy that I'm seeing some of the platforms are going through. So by now, I think things like Decentraland, Solid Space, or Sandbox, the focus is ownership first, players second. All right. And that's why you see a lot of speculative trading of assets in our marketplace rather than players. So I think the development of Worlds, for example, is a very good initiative, in my opinion, which allow players or developers to create their own game, minus the limitation that we have in Genesis, right? So instead of like one parcel 15 megabyte, you have like 100 megabyte for just one name. And I think because of that, you are able to create your own game with more freedom, I guess, right? And because the user interface, you can create your own, you can basically develop whatever that you want and attract more people before you introduce like the trading side of things. So I think in terms of strategy, I think we decentralized need to like be focused. And I think the current issue is we are still more we, the platform is still attracting more speculators and traders rather than gamers. So I think I see Wolves as a very good example of something that we can really enhance on that because of minusing the limitation. Like for example, Sandbox don't have a size limitation, right? Sony Space do have limitation. So I think we do have the so-called, I would say, infrastructure, but I think it's just a matter of how we are going to market that games towards real players rather than investors of assets. So, I mean, that's just my bit and sharing some of my observation in this space. Thanks.
Thank you, Maruk. And may I say something that you brought up a couple months ago too, is like understanding the um, the legal requirements of cryptocurrencies in each country, because we're trying to do this. A lot of us are based in the United States, but like if you're talking about having a game that's built like built out. Why couldn't that be built out in the native language of a country that is really friendly towards cryptocurrency, towards Web3? Like why wouldn't we try to do that first? Because people there already are, they're used to that. The country's legal guidelines behind cryptocurrency aren't so up in the air. So I think even like targeting those kind of things, I mean, what the chart that you shared with me was pretty eye-opening, that we're trying to fight a battle in a country that wants us to lose. But there are countries out there that have, like, what was it? I think Australia, 60% of the people have, cryptocurrency. So like the legality behind a lot of this too, I think, especially as coins get audited by the SEC, like it is scary probably for big investors to try to come in and build anything behind that. So I think just like knowing kind of that financial background too, seems like it could be pretty powerful, so that then when you do create a game, you're creating it for a very targeted audience that already is very, like, number one, they understand it, and number two, their country lets them have it. Because if their country doesn't, that's a real how are we going to get around that? So yeah, I appreciate your sentiment on that, and the information behind that as well. And I'll pass it over to Meek.
Hey kids, he's back. Vanessa, since we have three of the best developers on the community side, right? Ingester, Unknower, Lastrum, and if I'm missing anybody, right? That's correct, right? Can we agree with that? um, so, okay, I'm just gonna try and talk this out the best I can, right? So I took our team's first meeting with the foundation this week, and some people had a more clear roadmap of maybe what I did, maybe when we got started as a team with the A Kid Called Beast Link Wearable project. And I don't want to misspeak or overspeak or stop. So I'm going to do my best to try and explain, just kind of like I focused a lot on the art and helping like Rustan getting a class together and people getting stuff together. And maybe I focused less on the development side, obviously, because I thought it might have been a cleaner process. But there has been something that has been an elephant in the room, if you will, that I didn't realize, because I actually, from the beginning, had the process wrong. And it took Rustan and Knessa to first to explain to me. And then it took the foundation to confirm like the different aspects, right? And we are up against something with this process. Like, and sad to say, Rustan had his beast taken just recently, and luckily he was able to retrieve it by paying, right? But it did happen. The reality is, for the most part, we want people to be saving their long-term assets in cold storage, and we do not want that connection to happen to agree you have a linked wearable in your account to then link it, right? You don't, and just for anybody who doesn't know, and early on for myself, this is not something that gets airdropped. This is something that you have to prove you have your asset in your wallet. That means hopefully you have that asset in in cold storage. And if you don't, even if you don't, I think most of us tell people to use a secondary MetaMask or something to connect to Decentraland just to keep whatever assets that you have safe. There are some solutions that currently exist, including Delegate Cash. Um, I don't know that this is going to be a solution, and sorry for my ramble, but I just wanted to catch you guys up without um, stopping anything. This is actually a huge issue. So there has to be some sort of pass through or verification that is not making us use our ledgers or our cold storage to come into Decentraland, right? And that thing does not exist. And I think in having a conversation with the foundation, and it was an early one, right? It wasn't a team call. Knessa wasn't, this will happen at a larger scale as we get going. However, it is an elephant in the room for everybody. And if we want to bring more amazing projects in there, we need to think of a solution and then possibly build it. Now, I know I cannot. We I know that I'm trying to say this without throwing any. There's no bus, right? There's just the truth that our space has evolved, and we don't live on a one wallet concept. I literally never connect my Kid Called Beast wallet, or where I have my Utes, my Beast. Like, I do not connect it. Even when I purchase stuff from my hot wallet, generally speaking, and then once I feel everything's safe, I move it to a cold wallet. And that's because I also got taken advantage of and drained this year. And my meta bestie, who's downstairs in the audience, Cece, also unfortunately got hit this year, and a lot of us did. So there is a risk element to the linked wearable as it currently exists before we build the template that I would really like to talk to you guys about for more clarity and maybe a better solution. Thank you so much.
I want to jump in on that topic because there is a safe way to use a wallet, which is a multi-sig wallet, where you need multiple signatures in order to send out transactions. So, for example, if my wallet gets hacked and somebody wants to transfer, let's say, my NFT, but I have everything on my multi-sig, they need three more confirmations from three separate wallets. So that way, only when those other three people or other three separate wallets sign the same transaction or contract, only then it goes through. So uh, I think I will make a tutorial video for you guys on how to keep your funds safe, and it works also when you have a grant or something. It's very useful because you can use it to release funds as well, but that's a little bit harder. But I'll show it to you guys. It's a really safe way, and the way I've set it up is I have three ledgers and one, of course, MetaMask wallet, and I set it up to have like three signatures, but there's four wallets signed to the multi-sig. It's a bit complicated, but I will explain like in a video that I will make for you guys.
I personally think, yeah, that's awesome. But I put my headphones in, so I don't know if you guys can hear me. But I think it's just a larger issue of the crypto space. I mean, it's definitely not isolated to Decentraland. I mean, are there any insurance companies? And that's probably an obtuse question in crypto, right? Like, we all throw around our credit cards and debit cards at gas stations and get spoofed, but we're protected because it's fiat and the FDIC insures up to 250K. Or if somebody comes in and steals your artwork, you probably have, if it's valuable enough, have insurance on it. You might lose the art piece, which would be terrible, but you get some form of payback or reparation for that. So I think there's a larger issue that can be solved in this space that then can be applied to Decentraland. So I don't know, like shoehorning a solution into Decentraland when really the concept of what we're going through is still gray. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and
Can
I
I
think.
just? Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Make. You've got the
so
floor.
yeah. I mean, first of all, I agree with you, right? I do agree with you, and there are some open solutions, right? There's Delegate Cash, but it's not spelled that way. But Delegate Cash is a way to use a pass through and then go to a hot wallet and activate. And that is one that the bees currently really do suggest using for a lot of things, right? But the reality is this: how many platforms or things have come up and existed for a certain period of time, right? Like, and then they're gone. All my first NFTs I made as an artist are all locked in a shitty contract that wasn't updated. I can't even move them, and they disappeared. So it's like I I know there need at the end of the day for this particular subject, I was wondering if there is a new way, not a new way, but maybe like a landing point pass through or something we could verify and then and go to. it's going to be a bigger issue for us than, knowing kind of the overall feeling, knowing how many beasts get stolen. Unfortunately, it's going to be like a risk thing coming back the other way. And it's something I didn't have the field clear enough. I was desperately trying to see the field as clearly as possible, but it is an elephant in the room that there might be a solve. And it's not just for the beast, it's for like anybody who wants to connect their wallets to anything. Like I literally on Metaverse Mondays, for better for worse, literally tell people have a metaverse ID and wallet, and that's where you connect those points. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
racking my brain,
yeah.
honestly.
I mean, I think we're just in an infant industry. I mean, you know, I don't think there's going to be a de facto solution until there's a de facto solution, and it's really hard to wrap your head around that. But that's why we don't know if token proof is going to be the de facto ticketing solution. It is seems like so right now in terms of what you're speaking of. Hey, you want to connect your ape, show a barcode to get into an event. Well, you don't want to show your MetaMask wallet. You don't might have a screenshot of someone else's MetaMask wallet with the ape, cold storage, hot wallet, things like that. Token proof has done a nice job of that, but is that the de facto? I don't know. And so I think we're so infant in our industry that we don't know if token proof is really Stratton Oakmont, or are they JP Morgan, or are they Enron. We don't know that. And so I think trying to tell Decentraland one thing is like, it's unfortunate that this, I think, in my opinion, an area where we just have to sit back and wait for the industry to mature.
So, okay, this is going to sound crazy because I think this isn't just going to be a sticking point for the beasts. Like, you know what I mean? They really care a lot about helping their people stay safe, right? And I think this will be a gray area. I have not had that follow up, and I will. Um, and I know the options they currently use, right? At least I don't even know that those current options would work in this facility. So I ask another question, and it's like an honest one, and again, I don't have the answers, and that's why I'm here, because I'm so passionate about wanting this to happen. I can't even begin. Like, this is something I've wanted to see since the first time I was a beast, and the people who are part of the community, who are part of Decentraland, are really finding their homes here. But I also think it's a bigger solve for every other project coming in. Does does the link, and I don't know the answer, okay? But is there a solution that changes the format of link wearables a bit? Not like, hey, this is what we do, but I think if we look at things in a broader brush and say, hey, when this first started, that was a no-brainer. But now, and I think the two gentlemen that I did speak to also agreed, like, oh, this is something that needs to be addressed. Whether it does or not, there are a lot of things that need to be addressed. And so, with a broader brushing conversation, do we think not to reinvent the wheel of link wearables, but is there a different process we could think about, or a different way to deliver these assets that we feel safe with? Um, I don't have this answer, but I can tell you that connecting a ledger to, I've never connected. I'd love to know how many people have connected a ledger to Decentraland consistently. I think that number's low because sometimes we have trouble connecting to Decentraland. But and I agree with the multi-sig pass through, but I don't see that many people going through that building process to get to our process. Our process is to get as many beautiful souls, including Love Louie down there, who's one of my favorite humans. Um, it's to welcome uh, a large group of people into a new way of building into the community, right? And that's it. It's not to make money, it's not to spend money, it is to empower a large group of community builders. And I really hope that we as a group of people who care so much can remove a lot of the external stuff and just think, okay, would there be another process or another way to produce these assets? Because I feel we are entering a rock and a hard place because of this one process. I think the development side of connecting the APIs, I know that there is plenty of stuff that's going to need to be dealt with. And I know the creative process and everybody donating their time and efforts is also going to be a large amount of time and spent of love. But does the link wearable process overall for bigger platforms who have very high risk, is it too much risk, A? And then B, is there another way we could facilitate this? Because we feel like, well, at least these communities that are in Web3 already have wallets. After we just spent almost like 45 minutes an hour talking about new ways to bring people in, well, these people are right here. And so what can we do to make their experience either safer, or can we provide a different way to bring these assets to them that doesn't hurt the community from a financial standpoint? I really have been spending almost every waking hour in Miami or in Ohio. You can ask Mariana. I was at the bar asking questions. Is there a different process that we could come up with or solve this where it doesn't put heavy risk on these new communities?
Well, and I think that might be a reason why, in part, why we haven't seen more linked wearables try to come in, or we've seen projects that that have a couple assets that they're trying to link to their NFTs. But I think I think like we'll probably just see a decline in even more in linked wearables trying to come through with any NFT of value. I mean, it still might be Dolce and Gabbana. Like I don't know. I wouldn't say those are like super valuable. They're collectible, but they're not like a Bored Ape or a clone. They're cool, but they don't hit quite the same. But I think you're right. I think that it's, as I've said before, the canary in the coal mines. Like beasts are kind of like because they're the first one to do it in a while with a big following. It is kind of an experimental piece, and like Rustan and I were aware that the NFT had to be connected, but it does bring to light bigger complications that by having that in there. Yeah, it's
And
almost like we need a notary public. Like in the real world, it's a notary public where you would get this person to verify that you are who you are. We need a token that can act as like a notary public. Like, yes, this person has that NFT in there safely in their wallet. And I think it's just over. Yeah, like I mean, look at the friends this past year that have had wallet breaches. Like we have to keep making the space safer, because yeah, we don't want to be
you
that
know,
person that tells our
and,
family, come on in, get a beast, and then something happens.
and Vanessa, like, just to jump on the back of that, it's the reality is, right, that these link wearables, the big, I mean, from the way I see it from like 50 feet above, the reason you want it linked, right, and then applied is so people don't just get an airdrop or whatever and then just go and dump them. We want people to link them so they know they're there, so that if they sell the NFT, the next person, right, can own their NFT and come to Decentraland and have the opportunity to enjoy their asset. Um, and I'd love to hear Lastrom's thoughts. I'm just going to say some of my thoughts are some sort, there is Matrica. If you have connected certain NFTs, it is expensive for a platform to use. Delegate Cash is something I don't know where the money is spent or gained, but might be the simple solution because then you're using a pass-through wallet. But I think as we also talk about like the challenges of even getting people to use wallets and get into MetaMask and then get onto the platform, would we be asking those communities too much? And that's an answer I don't have. What I'm really thinking about is solutions. And And I know that ultimately we all care enough that we want to find a way. So yeah.
Well, it's kind of like this verbiage that, like, why is, if you think about water falling down a mountain and it carves a river, like mountains are huge, they're strong, bedrock, it's unbreakable, but yet water can erode, canyons and rivers. And why? And it's because why is water so successful? Because it takes the path of the least resistance. And so, to be honest, probably just having our beasts published one at a time is probably just going to be like more seamless, more easy, like it's more safe. And I don't want to do that because there's value. Like I love the value, the utility that linked wearables could bring to each project, not just beasts, but all of them. But you have to look at, like, maybe that's why projects haven't done it. Maybe that's why they haven't gone through the linked wearable process. It's also confusing. We had questions that we didn't have answered, and the documentation is, I'm hoping that we can help make it better, but there's a lot of loose ends out there that we're discovering through this. And, like, whether it's the beasts or the Clone X or whatever project does it, like, we can learn from this entire process. Lastrom, you've got the floor.
I think I know where was waving his hand, so I just put mine up so that he could speak on some of the security stuff before I said something.
Oh, sorry. I was just waving my hand to indicate that I'm one of the weird people that connects my ledger to Decentraland every single time. So,
Nice.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. I do it through MetaMask, which kind of makes it so that my private key doesn't actually live inside of MetaMask, but it just kind of connects my ledger so I can, like, sign transactions and verify my account with my ledger. But I'm not sure how many other people are like me and do that.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we just got to think, like, what's out there in the marketplace and what's the best use case for Decentraland. It's unfortunate that Web3 is not immune to Web2 scams. Most of these scams are typing in your seed phrase somewhere or downloading something on accident, which then is a password logger or keylogger. I mean, it's not new technology. It's like as if you got an email saying, reset your password to, Instacart or DoorDash or Uber, and you click on it and you change your password. Now they have your password with that email, which is probably linked to a different one, which is probably your bank account, and they get in, right? So it's not like this revolutionary new concept to rip people off. I think it's not our job, unfortunately, to figure out the best path forward, but I think it's maybe our job to highlight the current landscape of security and insurance and how that can be integrated into Decentraland.
So just as a concept, right? I mean, because there's still, like, there are 3 connection points, first of all, with APIs that are going to have to be connected, and hello, Dr. Drip. There are those 3 spots, and then there is this, elephant in the room of connection. Some of the things I've been thinking about, one of the things I've been thinking about, I don't know how anybody would feel about it, would be more like, if you want, like, it'd be an if or an and, right? It'd be like, hey, we made this for everybody, and we have an API connection that will verify what head you get, right, from our side. And then maybe there was a landing spot or something to say, I own this beast. This can be proven, right? And then maybe it is because as much as there are 10,000 beasts, there are not 10,000 holders, right? And even if you are a beast and you have 10 to 100 or 5, whatever that number is, maybe you only want 1 link wearable or 2, Is there a solution that says, if you get this, you're entitled to this? I don't know if that breaks from the mold too much of having a link wearable. Does that that process then entitle you to an airdrop to have or something where we can eliminate that risk in the building until there is a better way.
Okay,
And
can I
there
pose a
are,
hypothetical?
yeah, I'm just talking through this with you guys because it is a real sticking point to this being successful. I mean, at
Yes,
the end
I
of the
agree
day,
and disagree though, because like you're not going to solve the insurance and security policy with Decentraland. What you just described actually works. You sign in with your MetaMask and it verifies that that wallet has it. You could sign in to a website that says, "Hey, I have this wallet. This has this NFT. You checked it. I'm going to send this NFT to another wallet, which is your cold wallet. Sign a message, whatever. Now they have that cold wallet storage, but again, somebody could still hack your MetaMask and get there. So it's like we're chasing our tails in a circle here. We're not going to
the
find a
only
better solution yet.
fuck. Well, I would just say, I mean, I know it's going to be a heavy sticking point. Like it's not even a question. And I'm shaking my head around it saying, because I don't see, uh, it's just it's just reality, right? Like I also didn't realize, and that's just honest from the way the documentation when you write the proposal versus like reading through all the docs, I didn't realize, and this is me, right? Not anybody else. I didn't realize how much development was needed on the side for the beast. So I've got meetings and we'll sit in line, for this development as long as they don't feel that risk is too high, or if the solution of delegate cash is a strong enough one that this becomes a moot point, right? I have a lot of research to do into that middle layer. Yeah. So I mean, it's where I'm at. I say me, but it's all of us, and it's just because I took the meeting and have a lot of clarity.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, we so I did a lot of the like tried to ask questions before we got to that point, like asking like anybody anybody that would listen. I even bugged like, Nico E like, hey, I need help with linked wearables. He's like, you need the other Nico. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, sorry. But like, when I was asking those questions, I was directed back to the documentation, and really probably maybe a 10-minute conversation ahead of time before we ever even put the proposal out would have maybe even helped alleviate some of that. And I'm not saying like let's put more funding into support for Decentraland, but I think that's this is what happens. Thankfully it's us. We're a bunch of degens. We're not going anywhere. But if I was with the Clone X community out, not from Decentraland coming in, and I had to fight this hard to get answers, I just wouldn't fight. I would just be like, all right, cool. We're just gonna go to, on cyber Moner. Like literally, if we make it that hard to get questions answered, then like water, they're going to take the path of least resistance. They're just going to move on and find a way to do it somewhere else. So I think that for me it was hard to come back to you and be like, I'm trying, but I don't even know who to get in touch with. I'm like random people, I'm like, hey, do you have
Well,
questions about, or like, do you know what linked wearables and like what this API section means?
and let's also give the foundation the benefit of the doubt that they lost 30% of their staff. There's no way around that number. I mean, I said it last week. My wife lost like 2% to 8% of her total staff, and my wife did not stop working the entire time she was in Ohio. So that's just also part of the truth that right now we have to figure out stuff and solutions. And there are already ways to go to Hyperfi and on cyber and technically even spatial right now, individually with your beast if you're willing to do the work. That's not what this is about. It's about finding ways to bring the beasts who are so creative and so interesting and the ones who are already coming in, like Grover, et cetera, Louis, and a lot of us who are beasts who are already there love Decentraland. And there is a reason why we're here. There's a reason why we're in this space. And that's why we're even in the builder space. On top of it is we find solutions. We're not here just to be like, forget it. We're like, okay, how do we bend this thing? It's a solution based thing. There has to be a solution where the greater family, right? We all had support, even though there wasn't a financial aspect to this. And I'm not asking for one. I would never ask one for the beast, but I might ask that we come together if there is a larger solve for this and it's concept based, right? Where that layer of connection point and then what it does, if there is an idea that is a cleaner point that can be manifested between all of us, we will be helping the community and we will be solving maybe some of the tough questions through the docs. I mean, I also think maybe in the link wearable stuff there, like in the proposal, there should almost be like really a true question about API, like, hey, these are your steps with API. Can you answer this question? Right? Like, so if it's you need to call out in code to your platform and then go somewhere else, you have at least a subtle answer in those questions. So you're aware there's there is a solid amount of development that needs to happen. Um, and that's okay. With the chaos and the holidays and everywhere we've been and Art Basel, things get lost. Nobody's mad. And I just, I really hope we can find a solution because I think we would open the doors way wider to a lot more communities, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Oh, go ahead. Manor?
sorry, I was gonna ask, like, because I've kind of been in and out, in like multitasking while I'm listening to this. But is the main sticking point based kind of like the development and hosting of the API, or are there other issues? Because I'm starting to think maybe this would be a good candidate for some kind of like bidding and tendering proposal, where maybe somebody in the community could build a service to host APIs for all, like host a set of APIs, or like some kind of service where people who are setting up linked wearables could just go and like put in a smart contract and get out an API endpoint that, and then maybe the service would just kind of periodically update, uh, every few hours or every day as far as who owns what, just by looking at the smart contract. Maybe like it seems kind of silly to make every single linked wearable develop and host their own API when we could maybe just, like, since we're the ones, or since Decentraland is the one kind of placing this requirement on linked wearables, maybe it would make sense for DCL to host, kind of like their own linked wearable API service or something.
And and
Down.
that and therein lies part of the solution, right? And I think if we had, like, again, the three that are in my row, Anor, Lastrom, and it was people who truly understand what's going on behind the hood, who could that we actually do go and make a proposal for, right? That says this is not just for one project, but this is to make this correct for all projects and a cleaner way in and out where we're not putting so much leverage on the devs coming from this other support. Because, yeah, I'm not going to say that there's not. I haven't even taken that main meeting with the team, with our group to say, hey, here's where we're at. Here's exactly what needs to happen. It's just I've spent enough time around this stuff to know that, wow, this is going to be a big sticking point. And I think if we did solve this, we would find more people. I really think it would be a great victory for all involved. And again, it's fixing something that needs to happen because I feel like the landscape changes so fast. And if this was a point where there was more of a welcoming and dev and team support from the people from Decentraland, like with their hands open instead of you come find us, but no, let's welcome them in. It'll open more doors. So that's
And
the way I'm thinking about it. I hate to say it, and I'm not. The the one thing I did not want to do was go get asked for money in any way if we could avoid it. But in this scenario where it's literally for all, just like we talk about and we do, it changes to me what the point is.
Yeah, so just to sort of, I wanted to, another great idea. I love that. And this is sort of getting to where I was so frustrated about the conversation with the DAO and how we're structured is there is no structure. And having any technical skills or technical squads that can sort of oversee, or lack of a better term, our strategic endeavor in the DAO would be able to spearhead these things. I think complete decentralization, we're seeing what it's done to us, where there isn't a DAO committee that actually sits, in a conference room and makes decisions. There isn't that, right? And so we all have these ideas, these ad hoc solutions and concepts. Unknower's idea is perfect for the DAO itself to fund itself, to manage itself, so that we can have these kinds of things. And I think maturing our DAO, structuring our DAO, and it's not centralized. It's I don't like that dichotomy, right? The decentralized versus centralized. I think we need to come up with a different word, and I can't right now. But having a go-to person for this or for that, we sort of do it with the facilitation squad. So in the grander scheme of talking about beasts and chibi apes and all these other linked wearables, I think what Anoa said is super powerful, which gets at the larger point of let's structure our DAO for 2024. Let's mature it so that we can put money towards games and concepts that make us competitive, that provide a value proposition for people to come in, not solving how they come in, but when they do come in, there are things to do, right? And that was my whole point of the DAO. That whole long tirade. I had 20 minutes of bullet points. You can go back and read them or listen to them, and let's mature our DAO. And I think one thing that Unknower mentioned is a great idea.
Thanks, Lashram.
Hint, hint. Let's work on it together.
Let's do it.
I mean, I just, who else is technical right now in the DAO that like wants to make these things happen? It's unfortunate. It's sad. Let's do it. It's 2024. Let's do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is a great example of like, here's a pain point people are having when it comes to being onboarded and entering the space from other like easily onboarded communities. And like, here's an area where the DAO could be stepping up and, instead of just sending people to like documentation where even we've been having to like submit pull requests to improve our own documentation as like people like you and I are going through and being like, well, that's not right. That's not accurate. Yeah, like sending people to a documentation page and being like, all right, you're on your own now, and good luck figuring out if it's all accurate. Like, there's definitely a better way.
Yep, work smarter, not harder. My lovely co-host, you've got your hand up. You don't need to have your hand up, but you have something to say to us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was just going to let everyone know that I'm gonna drop down to listeners. I do have a call to be at. So does Make over here, actually. So I'll be stealing Make. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This conversation has been amazing. So I'm just gonna step out real quick and allow this conversation to continue because there's a lot of. I feel like there might be some ground being gained today. We'll see. Yeah, the making New Year's Eve bash, 4 p.m. Eastern. Be there. We'll be starting off with DJ Hedge. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you later.
I'll be right there, Mew, because I'll be right there. But first of all, I just want to say thank you because I was even afraid, honestly, to have this conversation. I know that sounds silly, but we all know once we talk about what is possible, get approved, what's going on, they can be very sensitive subjects. And there are a lot of different hearts, minds, and people involved in this process that we want it to work. Like, we just want it to work, right? But it does take some effort. I just want you guys to know, Lastrom and Noah and Jester, like if this is something we could put like think about more on even outside of this thing where you have my word, I will be there to support, help, set meetings. I could bring you digital coffees. I am not a dev. I'm not even a designer. I'm just a person with passion about the things I care about. And it starts with you guys. I mean, end of the day, I say it all the time. It's not just about the place, it's about the people we unite with and what we're doing out here, right? I truly know for 100% fact that people who come into this room every fucking week aren't like, I'm trying to go make my bag by fucking being here. No, it's like, how do I make the place I love better, and my friends and family have the ability to be successful. And I'm not going to just drop this thing on the floor because it's like, oh, it's too hard. And I say me, but I mean we. There are a lot of people who have donated their time, their energy, their hearts to this. And I personally just want to make sure that those efforts and this should be this really, I hate to say it, should be easy in this updated environment, right? Because as much as we're letting people leave with the VRMs, a lot of places are now letting people come in, and I don't think that's the solution. By the way, I love the way we get to go and apply to see if our wearables are correct and we're ready to go. I think that it allows all the platforms to thrive. So there's a pain point here and a sticking point. And if there's a way to come across this where it makes sense for all parties involved, I'd love to know. And I'm going to be thinking about this. I have calls with a few amazing different, outside people who work with these different communities to just say, hey, what are your thoughts and what are the hard costs? But I think the developers of Decentraland and the people who really know what's going on and are breathing should also have an opportunity to make these pain points less painful. Um, and we're gonna figure it out. I just want to say, Kaneza, we're gonna figure this out. It is just another step forward. But thank you. I have to hide with Mew for a little bit because we're about to, bring in a bunch of people to play some music. I love you all.
Make, have a great day. I know you've been busy. We'll talk soon. I think we have like, I don't know, 48 more hours before the new, well, not even the new year, but until till yeah, till 2024 gets cooking. And so I think we'll have some conversations and again,